We're going to talk about how to find the volume of a cylinder. Volume is a 3D quantity that tells us how much space a 3D object occupies. A cylinder is a 3D shape with two circular bases of the same size that are parallel to each other. They are connected by a curved surface. To find the volume of this cylinder, what we first need to do is find the surface area of one side. So we'll find the surface area of the base, which is that circular top or bottom, because remember they are exactly the same. And then we find how deep it goes, or how many of those tops we would layer on top of one another of the depth or the height. When we multiply that surface area of the base by the height, that gives us the volume. So you'll notice that on this cylinder, we have a radius of 3. That's half of our diameter, or half of the circular top. And then we have a height of 8. So our formula for this cylinder is V equals pi r squared times h. So that is the pi r squared is our formula for a circle. And then remember, we multiply it by the height to see how many can fit in there, or the depth of it to show us our volume. So in order to do this cylinder, we're going to have V equals pi times our radius, which is 3, which we square, times our height, which is 8. Let's simplify that. So we've got V equals pi times 9 times 8. And we're going to simplify that even more to V equals pi times 72. Or, because it's multiplication, we can write that just as 72 pi. Now, when we plug that equation into our calculators, 72 pi, we can use the pi symbol if we have that on our calculator, or you can multiply 72 by 3.14, and we're going to get 226.8. Now, because it is a 3D shape that we are measuring, it's going to be inches cubed for our label. Now, today in our classroom, we need to find out how many jelly beans can fit in a cylinder. So we've got to find the volume of the cylinder, and then we've got to figure out how many jelly beans we need in order to fill that all the way full. The cylinder that we have today for our jelly beans has a slightly different measurement than our practice cylinder did earlier. It has a radius of 4 centimeters and then a height of 9 centimeters. What our students could do is just add up all of those surface areas nine different times, or they could use our volume formula, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to find the volume. So we're going to start plugging in these numbers into our equations. So our first equation is going to be V, our volume equals pi, and then our radius is 4, which we're going to square, and then we're going to times it by our height, which is 9. Let's simplify that. So we've got volume equals pi times 16 times 9. And let's simplify that even farther. So we've got V equals pi times 144, or 144 pi. Now that 144 pi, when we plug it in, so 144 times 3.14 is going to give us our volume of 452.16 centimeters cubed on this cylinder. This is a multi-step problem, so they have found the volume of our cylinder, but now they have to try and decide how many jelly beans are going to fit in there. A jelly bean is approximately 2 centimeters cubed, and so what they'll need to do is take that 452.16 and divide it by our 2, which is going to give us 226.08. At this point, the students will hopefully recognize that they can't put in a 0.08 jelly bean, and so they will realize that they need to use one of their other math skills and round to the nearest one, which is 226. These numbers actually won't account for our packing or air or the fact that jelly beans aren't perfectly all shaped the same way. But I hope that it is an effective lesson on volume and finding how many or what space is taken up by the cylinder on the inside.